I think the overreaching concept for the localization of Final Fantasy XII was inspired by the original game, and that's realism. And in order to do justice to that, when we were set with the task of writing an English script for this game, basically, and this is true of any translation, any localization project, you start off with a fully realized game with a Japanese script and Japanese text and Japanese voices, and then you lose all of the Japanese, and you're left with having to recreate a language, an English version of the game that is true to the world that has been created in the Japanese version. A big element of the localization this time around for Final Fantasy XII was the accents that we used in the game. In order to fully realize an English-speaking world, because of the richness of English, it's different forms of English over history, different forms of English found in different countries. In order to recreate a world as full as Ivalice, the world of Final Fantasy XII, you need to pay attention to accent variations and make sure that everything makes sense with the world setting. And in that, we were really helped out because Matsuno, in his original design of the game, left copious notes on every aspect of the world, background, character backgrounds, history. And so we were able to draw on those when we decided how we would map out English accents for the world of Ivalice and the English version. That challenge is present in every line because very rarely do direct translations work from Japanese to English. And so ultimately, what we're set to do is attempt to reinvent the lines, maintaining the heart or the spirit of the original, and think, well, what would Ash say in this situation if she was an American? Or what would Balthier, another character in the game, say in this situation if he was British and not speaking in Japanese? And that way you can attempt to create the same experience for the American player or the British player that the Japanese player experienced when they saw the original in Japanese. Another aspect of finding people for Final Fantasy XII, and which is such a realistic game with a lot of very, very fully realized characters, was that we tried to avoid falling into patterns that you normally see in a lot of dubbed over things where you're sort of getting a lot of very flat reads, and we wanted to get something that felt genuine and real. And for that, we went to a lot of people who, though trained in voice acting, were primarily stage actors and film actors, people that brought a lot of physicality to their own characters, even though all you can hear is their voice in the game. And I think that ultimately we ended up with some very unique sounding voices, stuff that you won't hear in a lot of other games.